What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday. It is the late night agenda. You know by now I'm your host Craig, and you also know that you're all very welcome along to tonight's stream. Look, there's lots and lots and lots for us to get through. I feel like I'm saying that every night, but there is. It's transfer season. It's silly season, and of course there's the small matter of a Champions League final, which is now, as you can see from our image, just 10 days away. It is going to be a monumental fucking day. I cannot wait. 10 days until Liverpool take on Spurs at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium in Madrid for the right to lift old big ears up above their head. I want to see Jordan Henderson do it, ladies and gents. I'm dreaming about it. I'm going to bed thinking about it. As I said, I'm dreaming about it. I'm waking up thinking about it. I have visualised Jordan Henderson lifting that trophy above his head far too many times for it to be healthy at this moment. Right, who have we got in tonight? And let's see what everybody wants to chat about. This is your show, guys. Don't forget, let me know. I do have some notes to get through, but I want you guys to steer the conversation. I want you guys to let me know where you want to start tonight. So I can already see. I can see from our thumbnail that a lot of people want to go with the Jurgen Klopp thing. So let's dive straight in. Or Strite? What the fuck is Strite? I mean, is it Sprite's cousin, perhaps? I don't know. But let's try and dive straight in there then. This release clause for a Klopp had better be like 200 million. It isn't. So let's just start with that one. So, apparently Jurgen Klopp has a release clause in his Liverpool contract, and Juventus want to try and lure him away from Anfield. The articles that I've read point to a figure of £32 million being the release clause in his contract. But the good news here, ladies and gentlemen, is Jurgen Klopp has no interest in going anywhere, apparently. He's not going to Juventus, but I just found it very interesting that the news of a possible release clause has broken. I've never heard of it before. Maybe somebody else had with regards to Jurgen Klopp, I mean. And £32 million might sound low, but for a manager, if it's true, and I had to say if it's true, because like I've already said, and people have commented in there, take everything in the media with a pinch of salt. £32 million. Now I have my own theory around what might happen with Juventus. Here's what I think might happen. There was links to Conte going to Juventus. He's nailed on for Inter Milan now by the looks of it. What I think will happen is Pep Guardiola, as far as I'm aware, has 2 years left on his Manchester City contract. Now, I know some of our Manchester City friends are trying to say that they're negotiating a new deal and they hope to keep him there for 5 more years. That may well be true. But, as it stands, I believe he has 2 years left. I think you're going to get Jose Mourinho managing Juventus. This is my guess. To placate Cristiano Ronaldo, who I believe wants to bring him in to try and win things. So I wouldn't worry about Jurgen Klopp going to Juventus. I only brought this subject up tonight because I wanted to have a little chat about the release clause, the figure of the release clause, and the possibility of the release clause, because it's not something I'd really seen much discussed with managers. But then again, we don't know the ins and outs of these contracts, do we? So look, let me see how you're all feeling about it. Give me your thoughts on my theory, I suppose, that we might see Jose Mourinho going to Juventus for a couple of seasons until maybe they can get Pep Guardiola from Manchester City. Okay, what else have we got? Conte will go to Juventus. He's going to Inter Milan, mate. It's been all over the news, Kieran. It's been all over the news. Check Sky on that, mate. From everything that I've read, it's that he's going to Inter. I don't even know if he's signed, but I know he did settle his disagreement. Disagreement is probably the wrong word. Conte settled his ongoing legal battle with Chelsea. I believe he was awarded £9 million or something like that from his sacking, but there you go. So what's the release clause? I've gone through that, live gamer. It seems to be 32 million, but I want to really ram this home. He ain't going anywhere. I mean, don't get worried about it. How are you, buddy? Greetings from the warm weather in Dubai, said Denzel. I'm very good, thank you, mate. I hope you are as well. I've got a pounding headache today, but I'm going to get the head down and try and get through the stream anyway, because I'm hoping by the end of the stream we'll have a laugh and the headache will have gone away. What's my score prediction for the final, Harry, if that's the case? 3-1 to Liverpool or 2-0 to Liverpool, but even 4-2 to Liverpool. I just think we're going to win by 2 clear goals. Hello to the best YouTube video person. Thank you, Ben. Very kind of you, mate. What else have we got? Do you think Klopp might leave if we win the Champions League? No, I don't. I think, like the rest of us, Sephiros, I really a Champions League would be brilliant, and it would be certainly something that Jurgen Klopp and this team deserve, but I think he wants that Premier League title. I think he knows how much it means and how much it will put him into stratosphere with Liverpool fans. If he wins that Premier League title, that would be unbelievable. Now look, I'm not trying to belittle the Champions League. If we win the Champions League on the 1st of June, Jurgen Klopp will forever be a legend at this football club. But that Premier League, I think, is something that he knows we all want. I think it's something that he wants, and I've no doubt it's something that team want as well. Weird that Klopp has a release clause in his contract. Don't hear much about it with other managers, said Jordan. Exactly, mate. That's what threw me on this one. When I seen Klopp to Juventus, I immediately thought, fuck off. There's no way that's happening. That's just clickbait. But I was drawn in, so I clicked on a couple of the articles, and then I started to read about this apparent £32 million release clause. Now, that doesn't mean that this £32 million means Jurgen Klopp has to go. Jurgen Klopp still has to make a decision. Do you know what I mean? And Jurgen Klopp isn't finished at Liverpool Football Club. That is clear for everybody to see. In fact, from what I've read, we're looking to negotiate a new deal with Jurgen Klopp. David Tobin said, well done to BT Sport for streaming the final on their channel. I wouldn't be giving them any well dones, mate. From what I believe, it's part of their contract. They have to do it, I believe. But if I'm wrong on that one, then yes, well done to them. But if they really wanted to do it, mate, they could have just put it on the channel for free, couldn't they? They could have just free screened it to everybody. Putting it on YouTube is kind of making people go a little bit out of their way to go and look for it. So I believe it was in their contract that they had to do it. I could be wrong, but either way, if they really wanted to make it a nice gesture, they could have just put it on free-to-air on television. Sarri is linked to Juventus as well, Craig. I did see that, Oliver. Yep, absolutely, mate. I'd seen that. And I think the way Sarri's being treated by Chelsea is disgraceful, if I'm being honest. I mean, even the fact that we've seen 3 or 4 managers, we've seen the ladies Chelsea's team manager linked to the job. We've seen Frank Lampard linked to the job. And this man is about to take his team into the Europa League final. And he has this hanging over his head. It's just shithousery. If I was Sarri, I would be absolutely fuming. Conte to Inter isn't set in stone. Don't be shocked if Juventus swoop in. Apparently Barca are not favourites to sign De Ligt now. Was this from yesterday, mate? The only things I'd seen about that was there was a little bit of an argument over his wages. There was a bit of an argument over Mino Raiola's big, dirty, fat, over-the-top paid nonsense that agents get. I mean, he wants millions apparently, which isn't unusual, but apparently there was an argument over that. Some people are trying to say now there's an argument over wages as well. I don't know. I think it's where he'll end up. Everything seems to point to the fact he'll end up there. He won't be coming to Liverpool, if you're to believe James Pearce and some other local-based journalists who believe Jurgen Klopp is very happy with the selection of players he has at the minute. Is it June 1st yet, guys? Unfortunately not, Andrew, mate. It feels like forever, doesn't it? It feels like absolutely forever. Countdown, though. 10 to go. We're almost into single digits. Paul Dunning said RTE all the way. Yeah, that's where I'd watch it, Paul, to be fair, mate. If I had a choice, I usually would watch it on RTE because I think the punditry is better. Horrible how Chelsea treat their manager, said Dr. JFM. It is, mate. Now, look, there's 2 sides to this argument, and I'm with you. I think it's disgraceful, but they've also had success by doing this, by bringing a manager in, getting 1 or 2 years out of them, and then them moving on. So I suppose, to be fair about it, we have to look at it in 2 ways. But if I'm a manager, unless there's a enormous amount of salary being paid to me, there's no way I'm looking at that as a possible job. There's no stability there. How can you build anything there? From what I'm aware as well, the managers don't even have control or much control over the transfers of Chelsea. James Dyson said, Jurgen Klopp has always said he'll see out his contract another 5 years. Release clauses are normal these days. Gives the players manager something to bargain with the club over a future contract. What is Lord Clavan's release clause? There just isn't enough money, Edward, on earth, mate. They just had to just keep writing zeros. They're still writing the zeros now in his release clause because there's just so many of them. He's just too damn good, isn't he, Mr. Clavan? Is Klopp leaving? 100% no, Keane, mate. No, can never say never, of course, buddy. Jurgen Klopp may well leave this football club one day, but he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, as many people have said, I fully expect him to be here another 3, 4, possibly 5 years, hopefully, as long as he wants to be here. That's where I'm at with it anyway. Sorry to meet with Chelsea bosses over his future and said if my job rests on 1 game, I'll leave now. And he's damn right. Liverpool 5 times. It's not great at all to see a manager have to put up with that type of shit. Thank you to everybody, by the way, who came over to Twitter and commented and retweeted and shared the 888 video where I basically called Eden Hazard a fraud, and the internet, well, I won't say the internet blew up, that makes it sound ridiculous, but it definitely triggered a few people. It actually somehow turned into a Mo Salah versus Eden Hazard debate, which wasn't entirely what was intended when I recorded the piece. The piece was called Unpopular Opinion, and my unpopular opinion was that Eden Hazard is, I said the word fraud, but to be fair, I did say the word fraud to try and trigger people a little bit, that he's overhyped. And I use Mo Salah as an example of the fact that it took Eden Hazard 5 years to score 50 Premier League goals, and Mo did it in 69 games, if memory serves me correct. But it got turned into this kind of debate about who was the better player on there. And as it stands in the voting, so if you want to help me out and you want to help Mo out, get over there and vote. Go to the 888 Twitter account or Anfield Agenda's Twitter account and vote for Mo Salah, because last time I checked, Eden Hazard had 62% of the vote and Salah had 38, something like that. Early today, Craig said Joshua. Yeah, I mean, I'm experimenting, Joshua, a little bit with times, buddy, just to see what works best for everybody. So I've done some 10 o'clocks, I've done some 9:45s, and now I'm trying a few 9:30s as well, because I just want to see what works best for everybody, and I want to kind of make as many people happy with times as possible. What have we got here? Somebody said statue of him if he wins the league. Where's that one gone? Sorry, I think oh, there we go. Barnes said statue for him if he wins the league, without a doubt. I just want to see him on, you know, that big banner on the cop, mate, with like you've got Shankly, Paisley, Rafa and that. I just want to see him on that. I want to see him idolised forever at this football club, and if that's because of a Champions League or that's because of a Premier League, then so be it. But I just love Jurgen Klopp so much. I can't speak highly enough of him. There isn't a manager in the world I would swap him for. Your heart is hoping we win by 2 goals, said Boris B. It is, mate. I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous enough about the game because Spurs are a good team. Pochettino's a good manager. Obviously, I'm backing Liverpool to do it, and we've beaten them twice this season in the Premier League. But it's a one-off game, and anything is possible, which is what always makes it so exciting. Mourinho's terrible, boring football would suit Juventus and Italy, said Breadsticks. Well, he did manage Inter Milan to the European Cup. Let's not forget. The only reason I suggested that the Juventus and Mourinho thing was because of the whole thing about Cristiano Ronaldo, and he seems to have a lot of power at that club. Seb Russell said opinion on Dortmund, Hazard, Brandt, Schultz. On that, actually, you guys might have seen, we spoke about Julian Brandt, we spoke about Torgan Hazard recently on streams and how they'd been linked to Liverpool and stuff, and we always said, and Dave, to be fair, gone back to Dave Henry, he's been saying it for over a year, that Julian Brandt always wanted to stay in Germany. Well, today Borussia Dortmund announced the signings of Julian Brandt and Torgan Hazard from Borussia Mönchengladbach and Bayer Leverkusen. So they are now officially done and dusted Borussia Dortmund players. Very good business from Borussia Dortmund. They're basically using the Christian Pulisic money there to bring in Torgan Hazard and Julian Brandt. I mean, they're very clever in their business, aren't they? You've got to hand it to them. They do pull off some great transfers. And if they weren't to go to Liverpool, then you know what? You know, I don't think any of us would begrudge them going to Dortmund, would they? Because I think most of us have a soft spot for Dortmund. Craig reports from the Italian media, aka a total load of bollocks, said Rafa the Gaffer. After all the speculation of Pep taking handshakes, he might leave if he's guilty. There was a wonderful article from Ken Early in the Irish Times, which I shared on the Anfield Agenda Twitter account, about the whole situation, about Guardiola and Manchester City and stuff. So it is, I mean, you can just go and search it on Ken Early's account. You can go into the Anfield Agenda account, but if you get a chance, do read it. I believe it's a free article as well, so it's really good, a very good piece of writing. Ken Early is a fantastic journalist. I really do urge people to seek it out and have a read of it. Andrew said, don't believe that release clause. If we don't put release clauses for our players, why would we put one in for our manager? It's something, mate, in some countries that is obligatory. I believe in Spain and stuff there has to be one in there, and you're right, it doesn't make much sense to me, Andrew, that we don't have one for our players but we put one in for our manager. I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. It does seem strange. I was very much shocked by it when I seen the clause and the 32 million. That Swansea fella Potter had a 2 million release clause, said Corey. He's a good manager, Potter, and I think he'll do well there, but I still don't like the way they sacked Chris Hughton. He deserved better than that. Potter is now the manager, by the way, at Brighton, just in case anybody wasn't sure. What else have we got? Craig, what's your thoughts on Neil Jones, the journalist, said that if a decent offer comes in for Shaqiri, Liverpool may listen, but Lallana will not leave. Somebody did point me in that direction earlier on, Louis, and it kind of goes against everything else that's been written in the media so far. Now look, Neil Jones, I believe, is he still of Goal? Formerly of the Echo, I believe. Very good journalist. I mean, I really enjoy reading Neil's stuff, But it is a little bit different to what we've read from other sources, so I don't know. It makes more sense to me that Lallana would leave because he's been injured so much and he's aging, and I don't know, it always made more sense to me. But again, transfer window, you kind of have to take everything with a pinch of salt and wait and see what happens. But what would people prefer? If we had to keep one of Lallana and Shaqiri, in the chat, if you wouldn't mind, ladies and gents, just let me know which one would you like to keep. So which player would you like to keep at the club? Barnes said, have you seen the story on companies sending back Europa League tickets due to the fact that they can't shift them and how expensive it is to get to Baku? Barnes, I haven't seen that, mate, but it is indicative of the stupidity from UEFA in putting it in Baku. Much like Kiev. Kiev was a wonderful city, by the way. Looked beautiful. Any Liverpool fans that went over there had a wonderful time. But holding European Cup finals or Europa League Cup finals in the far ends of Eastern Europe is madness. It's absolutely madness to me. I don't get it. I know it has to be shared around and all this, but it's just silly. You've got two London teams, and I know they couldn't have predicted that. Of course they couldn't. You've two London teams, 6,000 tickets for each of the fan bases, which is a joke for starters. And then they've got to try and get their way all the way across to Azerbaijan. And Henrik Mkhitaryan feels that it's not safe enough for him to travel because of political instability, or instability, I should say, between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And he just feels like he's been given assurances, but he doesn't feel safe enough to travel. Complete bullshit. I feel really sorry for Mkhitaryan and Arsenal fans because, you know, he's a massive part of that club and they're in a European final, and it just doesn't sit well with me. I'm not a big fan of UEFA in general, or FIFA, to be fair. They're supposed to be custodians of the game, and all they seem to look after is their back pockets. Agent Bobby, we'll get to that, live gamer, mate. Don't you worry, sir. We'll get to that. Sorry to meet with Chelsea. We've gone through that one. Can't wait for the final. You'll never walk alone. Craig, Pepe or Depay? I would take Pepe, mate, over Memphis Depay. And I've been very honest in saying that I haven't seen a lot of Pepe, but I have seen a good bit of Depay, and whilst he's capable of flashes of brilliance, I don't know. Everybody that I respect that's watched Nicolas Pepe, and everybody that I've spoken to said that he's shit hot. So if it's down to me, which it isn't, of course, Billy, mate, I'd go with Pepe. But let me just get through your comments, because I want to get back and see who you all picked for this Shaqiri versus Lallana question. So let me see. Who are we keeping? Okay. Oh, lots of answers, guys. Thank you. Let me just scroll back up to see what we can get to. So Christopher McVicker said Shaqiri. Stigblam Anderson, Shaqiri as well. Joe Stanley, Shaqiri. Big Man Steve, Shaqiri. Charlie Haley, Shaqiri. The Walking Gamer, Shaqiri. Kisler, Shaqiri. Loads of people saying Shaqiri. I'm just trying to find any Lallanas, so let me just scroll through. Everybody, it's almost unanimous that you guys would be voting to keep Sheridan Shaqiri at the club, and I can completely understand that as well. He's got youth on his side, he's got fitness on his side, he's got that deadpan. I mean, he's not a fucking comic, Craig. He's got that specialist dead piece delivery as well. I understand it, and it's the answer I thought that you'd all go with. Yeah. Good. We're on the same wavelength here, aren't we? I like it. Klopp hasn't won anything at LFC. He won't go anytime soon. I agree with you, Epic Ledger. I don't think he will. The injury killed his career, said Santosh. It is unfortunate, as I've said. We spoke about Lallana a couple of times and how when he came into the club, he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Very important for Jurgen Klopp at the beginning of Jurgen Klopp's managerial career at Liverpool. But it does seem that either father time was caught up with him, or his body's breaking down a little bit, or maybe us as a team have just pushed on a little bit. But either way, yeah, it's not looking good for Adam Lallana. By the looks of things, ladies and gents. Again, I want to take out a second to say, if I've missed some comments or I don't get to your comments, I really do apologise. I'm trying to speak faster and work harder, because as the channel grows, we get more and more people in and more people comment, and I want this to be the most interactive channel that there is on football YouTube. So I'm trying to get through as many of your comments as I can, so please don't take it as a slight against yourself or any type of a disagreement with yourself if I don't read your comments. I promise you, nothing here is done intentionally. If we miss a comment, we just miss it. United signing Eden's other brother, warning Hazard. Other brother? Has he got a third brother that plays football? I didn't know about that, Eden, mate. Shaqiri's a better impact sub, said Tom Boland. UEFA's corrupted, said Epic Ledger. What's the crack, said David Lone. How are you, pal? Jurgen Klopp is 50 to 1 to go to Juventus, so this means almost definitely he's staying at Liverpool. Charlie, you're right, mate. He was never going to go. Even when Juventus came in, all the articles even went out of the way to say, nah, he's not going anywhere. The clause might be there, but Jurgen Klopp has a job to do here, and he's not finished building at Liverpool. Craig, the 2020 Champions League final is the Ataturk Stadium in Istanbul, Turkey. I mentioned that the other night on a stream, mate, and it looks a lot different from when we were there in 2005. They continued the development of that stadium now, and yeah, it looks a lot different. If you guys have had a Google of it or checked it out, it does look different from the stadium that we played in 2005. I want to circle back to a comment that was right at the very start from Domestic Butler. He said, I hope Craig and Connor do an interactive thing tonight where we can pick an all-time Liverpool 11. I did have a chat with Connor about that, mate, and what we're going to do is we're going to dedicate a special stream just to that. So give me a day or two to sort it out, and we will come back and we will do an interactive all-time LFC 11 stream where you guys, we get to sit down and we'll spend maybe 30 or 40 minutes on it as a separate stream, and we will do it. I just don't think it's something we can do in the midst of a longer stream. I'd rather dedicate, the correct amount of time to it and do it on its own, Domestic Butler. So I haven't forgotten, buddy. I did see your comment. Sometimes before the stream start, I sit here and I read through your comments while I'm getting set up, and that one jumped out at me. So I didn't ignore it, mate, and I promise you we will get it done. Lallana won't start week in, week out in the lower league team, or he would start, excuse me, AJ. Lallana would start week in, week out in the lower league team. I think, yeah, Southampton, maybe someone, he's been linked with them, Bournemouth perhaps. He's a very good player, Adam Lallana. I just, we need the best of the best almost at this point. If Manchester City win the Champions League, no one will bat an eyelid. The fans only really care about the club. They condemn their owner, who's directly linked with, I can't read the last part, mate, because I don't want to say that if I'm not sure about it. Even though it's your comment, I'll just push on. David Bale said, Craig, my main account John Bale has been barred because said Tommy Robinson's not a fault the other day. It was not me that started the conversation about him, so don't think it's fair that I'm banned without warning. There was a lot of Tommy Robinson stuff in the other day, mate, and I think a lot of people were getting booted out. I'm not sure if Connor is in the chat or if he is watching. But if Connor, mate, if you are watching, can you do a search for John Bale? If not, buddy, I'll try search when I finish the stream and make sure to unbar that account, if that's okay, buddy. It's a very sensitive thing, David. I think John, sorry, it probably is John. You can understand, mate, so I will try and get that sorted for you, buddy. I don't like people, and you've taken the time to write your comment and explain the situation, so I'll get that sorted for you one way or the other. Can we please get to Agent Bobby? Look at this, Billy. Very impatient, my friend. Very impatient. Your wish is my command, sir. Let me get to the Agent Bobby. I love calling him Agent Bobby, by the way. That sounds fucking cool, doesn't it? Right, so, David Neres. David Neres is a name that keeps popping up, and everything I've been reading about Liverpool transfers say that a figure of around £40 million is what it would take to get Neres out of Ajax. Now, we know that he's impressed at Ajax and that he's had 12 goals and 10 assists this season. Not to forget, he's just 22 years of age, and that's actually something I only learned today when I was doing a bit of research on him. 22 years of age. His whole career in front of him, nowhere near his peak. Some people have suggested that perhaps Firmino could have an important role to play in any potential deal because they're international teammates, and we know that Bobby likes to get in people's ears, as a couple of people have called him Agent Bobby. We know he probably had a part to play with Alisson as well, so what do you think? Is it going to happen? David Neres, Liverpool, 40 million quid. Is Bobby going to have a word during what is the... Not the African Cup of Nations, the Copa America, sorry, mine went blank for a second. What do we think? Is Bobby going to have a word? I hope so. Because, again, I don't want to give away too much, but we spoke about the players we believe are going to come in a podcast that we recorded recently, and I have a sneaky suspicion over Neres. John Bale, Connor, yes. Thank you very much, sir. That is the one. So he's having a look there now for you, John, so hopefully he'll get that one unbarred for you. Craig, how much do you think we'll recoup from, I don't like using the phrase dead wood, Paul, mate, but who do I think will leave? Right, so the 100 million seems to be the number that's going around, Paul, when it comes to selling players. I think Lallana will leave. I think Kleiny will leave. We know that Moreno and Sturridge are leaving, but we won't get any money for them because they're on freeze. I think, who else do I think might leave? Wilson, which I will get to in a minute. I think Wilson will leave. I hope Grujic doesn't leave. couple of other younger players. Masterson was released, by the way. Connor Masterson was released from his Liverpool. Well, I think his contract ran down and the club chose not to offer him another one, so he's going to move on, which is sad for me because it's an Irish connection. Who else might move on? Let me go through the team really quickly. I don't really see us taking anybody out of midfield other than Lallana. Forwards, we don't really have any to sell, to be fair, except for Sturridge being released. Mignolet as well. He's going to move on. And I do have news on the goalkeeper situation as well, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes. I've probably missed somebody, mate. I'm sorry. But I think that's a bit. But 100 million, Paul, seems to be the number that's going around. Over 400 people in the chat. How are you? Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. Don't forget, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please do hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Agent Bobby, I love it. All you people with the Agent Bobbies, go on. Tommy Robinson's van got bricked, said Rafa the Gaff. I've no idea if that's true or not, but it does make me laugh. Liam Barr said, I like your hoodie. Thank you very much, Liam. I like it as well. It's one of the new training gear ones. I'll try and set up a little bit so you can see. Where is it? You can see the AXA there. So it's one of the new training hoodies. So £50, I believe, from the Liverpool site. 10% less if you have a membership. Who do I think will score in the final? Do you know what? I'm going to be greedy here, Dean, and I'm going to think that the entire front three are going to score, mate. So Salah, Bobby, and Sadio. I mean, call me greedy, buddy, but Mo's going to be so hungry for this final, Dean, isn't he? I mean, we know what happened, obviously, in Kiev last year, but Mo is, I can only imagine. I think he's going to be huge in this final. And Sadio's on fire at the minute, so the smart money would be at least one of those two guys to score. And if Bobby's fit, then, Bobby can pop up at anything, can't he? Lallana out the Ibala would fit in really well, said Matthew. Do you remember me? Yes, Yoshi, of course I do, buddy. With a cool name like Yoshi, how could I not remember you, sir? Okay. Can you please not swear? Mum is watching with me. Sorry, Dylan. It does say in our stream notes, mate, we use bad language on the stream. I do understand that parents could be there and younger kids could be watching. I appreciate that fully. But I am who I am at the same time, and I do use bad language occasionally. So I understand if you're watching with your mum, and maybe your mum decides this isn't for you. I completely get with that, pal. But unfortunately, I won't be able to stop swearing because I couldn't genuinely promise that one wouldn't slip out. So sorry, Dylan, mate. I'll try my best to keep it down, though. Genie will score, said AJ. A source said that Lallana would fit into Manchester City, but that's completely rubbish. I'd be amazed if they bring Lallana in there, Louis. Would you? To Manchester City? 10% to use within 1 month at Craig. 10%. Oh no, the £10 off, you mean, Denzel? Yeah, that's 1st of June to the 30th of June, isn't it, for that, if you bought the Liverpool kit from the store. I have next season's kit. It's so nice, said Charlie. It's lovely, Charlie. I have it myself. I was actually wearing it all day today. It's it's a really nice kit. I love it. I think the final will be 3-1, said Kieran Aaron. Mane with 2 and Oxlade-Chamberlain with 1 and Son scoring for Spurs. Mate, can we not use the Y word, please? It is racially insensitive, or religiously insensitive, I should say, mate. So please don't use the Y word when referring to Spurs. I know a lot of people don't. There was actually a brilliant article about this on Sky Sports about anti-Semitism and about the use of the Y word. So I know you didn't mean to offend, buddy, but we can't be using the word like that on the stream. Bad language gets your videos demonetized. Yeah, but we've always said, AJ, don't care about the money, mate. This isn't about money. This is about having fun. And I'd rather come on here, speak like I speak. If I use bad language, I use bad language. And if we get demonetized, we get demonetized. I don't really mind, mate. It's not about the money. Can I say how amazing the graphics are? Really stand out on YouTube. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Bernadette. We played around with a lot of different bits and pieces before we settled on this one. And me being the fussy git that I am, will probably change it again. I love when we do the Champions League ones when we have that really nice blue background, which of course we will. No, actually, we won't be using for the final because we won't be using the green screen for the final because we'll be downstairs in my living room. Do I think Origi deserves to play in the final? Not if Bobby's fit. Robster, he's done a fantastic job, scored some amazing goals this season. And if Bobby isn't fit, I've no qualms whatsoever about Divock Origi starting, but Bobby is vital to the team, so if Bobby's fit for me, Bobby would have to start. Do you know if they sell that hoodie in junior sizes as well? I genuinely don't. I'm so sorry. I genuinely don't. Let's think. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. I hope they do, because I wouldn't mind getting my little son one, to be fair. Lallana will fit Southampton, said Epic Ledger. Connor said that only excessive swearing gets videos demonetized. I think we've had one video demonetized in the entire time, for swearing I mean, in the entire time we've been on YouTube. And that was the one where Divock Origi scored, and I lost my mind a little bit, to be fair, and I did use quite a lot of bad language, so I absolutely deserved that video to be demonetized. Lallana is poo, said Lofa. There you go, Lallana is poo. Back in the day, mate, he was pretty good, to be fair, but Father Time may have caught up with him a little bit. So much to get through, ladies and gents. On the David Neres thing, let's get down to it. Neres, would you like to see him at Liverpool? As we spoke about Agent Bobby, I think 40 million is a pretty reasonable fee, and to me he seems one of the more realistic names we've been linked with. So we can scratch Julian Brandt off, we can scratch Torgan Hazard off, I think we can scratch Matthias de Ligt off that list as well. So yeah, it's got kind of getting down to the Fakirs, at a push the Ibalas, Memphis Depay, obviously David Neres. I know I'm forgetting player. Pepe, Timo Werner. So we're probably down to 5 or 6 possibilities at this point, unless of course Jurgen Klopp is going to pull a Fabinho on us and pull a rabbit out of the hat, and something that none of us were expecting. Mark Wang says, you're lucky it's not match night. Imagine the language coming out of Craig when Sonny scores a hat-trick. Now, be honest now, that won't be happening, Mark, because as much as I love Son, and he's a class act, both on and off the field, he ain't scoring a hat-trick against the Reds, mate. Looking good in the new hoodie, thank you very much. Stephen Richards brought something up with me, ladies and gentlemen, brought something up to me. He sent me a lovely voice note earlier on WhatsApp, and I wanted to raise the subject because it's something I actually knew about, but something I hadn't thought about too much till Stephen reminded me earlier on today. So, as we know, there's going to be There's going to be tens of thousands of fans travelling to Madrid for the final. And while a good amount of people will of course have tickets, the lucky few will have tickets, there's going to be thousands that don't have tickets. The ridiculous part of all of this here is that those without tickets are more than likely going to end up in one of the 2 fan zones or fan parks. There'll be one for Liverpool fans, there'll be one for Spurs fans. But there's going to be a massive scramble before the game. And Stephen Richards rightly raised this to me. So UEFA are apparently closing these fan parks 2 or 3 hours before the game actually kicks off. What the hell? Madness. Why not show the game there? It's ridiculous. Like, you're going to have tens of thousands of fans running around Madrid trying to find somewhere to watch the game after taking the time, one, to get to the fan parks that UEFA has designated fan parks. Why not show the game there? Imagine the scenes as well, the beautiful camera work, everybody celebrating. I don't get it. I don't get this one bit. Again, it seems like a massive own goal here from UEFA. Madness. Madness to me, ladies and gents. And I thank Stephen Richards for sending me the voice note, because it's something I should have spoken about and something that I didn't know about, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together in my stupid mind. So, what do you think on this? To me, it seems silly. I know I've thrown 2 things at you there very quickly. I've thrown the David Neres thing, and now I'm after throwing the UEFA thing as well. But to me, for fans travelling over there, I know our own Dave Henry is travelling over. I know a lovely lady that I speak to all the time on Twitter called Rita Swords is going over. And a couple of other people as well who are travelling over that haven't got tickets, that probably hoped that they would go and enjoy the fan parks and stay together and meet Reds and enjoy the game. And again, UEFA just seem to have not cared about the fans here. I don't get it. Even charge a $5 in if it's a rights issue and you need to pay BT or beIN Sport or whoever it is that has the broadcasting rights. I mean, UEFA are in charge of this. Do you know what I mean? It is their event, so they kind of should have the say on this. And it seems silliness to me and an afterthought, and the fans again not getting looked after. It's ridiculous. Jared McCauley said, I think Neres can be inconsistent. I'd like to see Ziyech and or Werner. I'd still love Fekir at Liverpool, said Breadsticks. I'm with you, mate. I'm not going to lie. I'd absolutely love him at Liverpool. Part of me still hopes that it wasn't the injury that stopped the transfer and that it was something to do with money, and that Aulas and Liverpool can figure this one out, and we're going to see him holding up the Liverpool shirt. I keep saying it, but when he was linked last year, I just went, oh, that makes sense. I can absolutely see that coming. Glennie said, any truth to the rumour of 31-year-old German striker Kraus? Seems a bit old for our policy, don't you think? We have been known to sign a mad player, Glennie, haven't we? Every now and again, pal. I don't know anything about this, buddy, so I can't say. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, mate. Has anybody else got anything on this? I'm so sorry, Glennie, I can't give you a better answer, mate. Charlie Hay said, some good news, maybe Guardiola 7-4 to go to Juventus. Low fat, what do you think of that one, pal? Barnes said, also got zero clue about Neres, never watched him. I've seen little bits and pieces of him, and then of course I got drawn into the whole YouTube clips, and you know when you got drawn down that rabbit hole and you had a look on there, and he looks very good. He's 22 years of age, he can play across the front three. It makes sense to me. UEFA is here for business, lads. They do everything they can to make a lot of it. Kumar, I agree, mate. They're supposed to be custodians of the sport in Europe and looking after European football, and they only seem to look after their own interests and, of course, the interests of the bigwigs, the sponsors, and the people that pump money in. And they forget about the fans who, in their own way, pump an awful lot of money in. Cameron said, Neres plus Fekir plus Pepe equals quadruple. I'd be a very happy man, mate, if those three came in. Wow, that would be brilliant. Crosby Red said, wouldn't need fan parks if they chose venues with greater capacity, which has a very good point as well. Now, the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium is a wonderful stadium, and I suppose there's two ways of looking at it, Crosby Red. I agree with you, by the way. I do agree with you in the main. But you can also take it the 50% or so of the tickets that are going to like the UEFA family or bigwigs or corporate sponsors or all those type. You could get more fans in that way as well. These things are no longer about the fans. We know that Liverpool have roughly 16,000, Spurs have roughly 16,000, and then the rest are just dished out to sponsors. And I know there was a ballot as well, and I know that the local people have to be looked after, and that's only right as well. But have you said, mate, again, fans, an afterthought at times, and football would be nothing without fans. Nothing. And think about this, okay, we've been spoiled as Liverpool fans. We've been to so many big, massive European occasions. We've won the Champions League 5 times, or the European Cup, whatever you want to call it. Spurs fans travelling over from London, maybe they can't get a ticket. I'm sure they can't get a ticket apart from the lucky 16,000. Going over there to the fan parks, want to enjoy the game together in massive numbers with all other Spurs fans in a safe, controlled environment, and they can't do it. They can't do it because UEFA deems yet again, nah, sorry, best of luck to you. We're only doing this for 2 or 3 hours, or until 2 or 3 hours before kick-off, and then do what you want. We don't really care. By the way, we've booked all the best hotels in the city years in advance, so scramble around trying to get yourselves a hotel room as well. And by the way, flights, best of luck to you on those as well. Should just drive over in the Channel Tunnel and spend 48 hours driving here. They don't care. They just don't care about the fans. Anyone got to Alicante, can't get to Madrid, there's a pub in Spain to be showing the game, said Scotty. I'm sure there'll be many pubs, mate, that'll be showing the game in Spain. Alicante is a nice spot, to be fair. I've been there a few times. Barnes said, to be fair, I could watch Lukaku best touch compilation that would make him out to be incredible, so I try not to watch them. Brian Morrissey said, no fans, no game. Exactly, mate, especially when UEFA are more than happy to use images of fans celebrating, whether it be in stadiums or outside of stadiums around the world. They use it to promote the game. Fans are an integral part of UEFA's brand, and they consistently shit all over them, for use of a better term. Remy said, I don't trust those YouTube videos on players. Karius look like Neuer in those videos. Yeah, look, when somebody makes those videos, they generally are looking for the best of the best, aren't they? The best moments of the players' careers. I've seen that Messi, by the way, is odds on to win the Ballon d'Or this year. So Van Dijk is, I think, roughly 2-1, something like that. And I think Messi was 1-2 on, so a pretty heavy favourite. What's my view on Harry Wilson? I do have some notes on Harry Wilson, so let me just get down to them. Where are they? Sorry. There we go. Sorry, here we go. So Newcastle, Southampton and Brighton are all interested in signing Harry Wilson from the Reds. It's believed Liverpool value Harry Wilson at around the £25 million mark, which I've seen some of you guys mention, just as John Bale has there. Oh, you're back. Great to see your account is back, mate. Palace are also looking at him as a possibility if Wilfried Zaha moves on. And then Sky also go on to suggest that Hertha Berlin, Frankfurt and Augsburg are also looking at him. So a lot of interest in young Harry Wilson. 25 million, to me that seems about right. But as I've always said, I will be amazed if Liverpool do not include a buyback clause at either a specific amount or at least a first refusal. And a sell-on fee. That will be in there as well, just in case. What do you guys think on Harry Wilson? Would you like to see him sold? Are you happy with 25 million? To me, I think it's the right thing to do. With a clause in it. I do think we need to have an option to reevaluate Harry Wilson down the line. But again, I'd love to know what you guys think, because this is your show. VVD has to win the Clavan d'Or, said Adam Parks, excuse me. Craig, I've heard Jurgen Klopp would like Ashley Simon Young. No. Ashley Young just needs to go away at this point. If we win the Champions League, VVD has to win the Ballon d'Or, said Joe. What are your thoughts on Daniel James to United for 15 million? United seem to be looking to sign some good young players. We talked about Longstaff as well, and Connor sent me a screenshot of somebody else United were interested in, but I can't remember for the life of me who it is, mate. I don't know much about Daniel James, to be fair, but what United need now is a mixture of good young players and some quality established footballers as well. So big rebuilding job there for the Manx. Crosby Red said Messi's not even won the Champions League, so should go to a red after we lift number 6. Dave's in as well. How are you, sir? He says hello to Connor, Brian, everybody else. Number 6 is coming home. Put it up to 35 million for Harry Wilson, said Seamus Smith. A lot of people think 25 or 20 with a buyback clause, said Kieran Aaron. We need a buyback clause on Wilson, said Domestic Butler. Richard Fink said good price tag, can't see him sold, good loan spell in the Premier League. Yeah, that would be the other option, mate, isn't it? No more Championship loans. He needs to step up a level. So if Liverpool are going to hang on to Harry Wilson, then a loan to a club like a Wolves, a Leicester, I was going to say like a Southampton or something, but I'd rather him go up the table a little bit. Brewster will start, said Seamus Smith. Alisson to be great in the final, said Premier League fan. He's been tremendous, Alisson Becker, hasn't he? I mean, we do need to take a moment here to just say how wonderful he has been this season. I know he's had a couple of errors, but when you play a high-risk game at the back like we do, when you have a keeper distributing the ball and playing with his feet as much as Alisson does, occasionally mistakes will happen, but I tell you what, he saved us a lot more than he has cost us this season by a long, long way. Anthony Cronin said, hello everybody, I'm sick, I've been off school for a week, but happy to watch. Craig, mate, I hope you get better soon. I always hate to hear of people being unwell, mate. Thank you for watching as always, but I do hope you feel better soon. Who do you think is a brighter future, Trent or De Ligt? It's kind of an impossible question, Louis. Both have tremendous futures ahead of them. How do you measure it? Do you know what I mean? Do you measure it in European Cups? Do you measure it in league titles? Do you measure it in international accolades? I think you're talking about two of the best young footballers or young defenders in the world by a long, long way, Louis. So it's impossible. I'm going to back our boy Trent if I have to. Gun to my head, I'm picking Trent because Trent is sensational. But as is De Ligt, so it is very difficult. Craig, you, Brian, Dave, Connor got to be singing the songs during the watch along. I don't know, I'll be singing. Connor probably won't, but maybe if we get enough drinks into Connor, you might get a song out of him. At least get him sitting there holding a guitar so he looks like he's being useful. Will Clavin go to Barcelona or Real Madrid this summer? There'll be a bid more, mate. I mean, you probably reckon the world record fee will be smashed there for Ragnar Clavin, and rightly so. Kumar said, Guardiola is leaving Manchester City for Juventus. The coming season has to be ours. No discussion. Can we have a discussion around him leaving? Is that okay? I mean, I'm happy to not have a discussion about us winning it next season because I'm like you, I want us to do it. But, I don't know. I'd be very surprised, one, if Manchester City let Guardiola leave, And two, Guardiola is usually the type of manager that sees through his contract, although the heat is getting turned up a little bit now, and Guardiola might have to start thinking about his legacy and thinking about his own reputation as well. Guess who said there are only 6 historic clubs with more than 3 Champions League trophies? Real Madrid, AC Milan, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Barcelona and Ajax. So for history, I support Liverpool to win the cup. Thank you, mate, and thank you for the wonderful comment. Dortmund have picked up Brandt Thorgan Hazard, praying that we can get Werner, said Jaref. Yeah, as we said earlier on, buddy, it's a very clever bit of business. And German clubs seem to like to get their stuff done early, don't they? So both of them announced today. So yeah, very good business from Borussia Dortmund. Okay, lots to get through, ladies and gentlemen, lots to get through. It's not free unless you own BT Sport. I believe they have to show on their YouTube channel for free, Jamie, mate, to UK residents, as far as I'm aware, regardless of whether they have BT Sport or not. I believe that they have to show it for free on the YouTube channel, or at least that they are showing it for free, on the YouTube channel. David Lowen said, I reckon Pep's gone, to be honest. 3 years, no Champions League, and that's kind of his modus operandi. Yes, I believe, not that he'll go, but I'm with you in saying that that's why he was brought in. That's what Manchester City's owners want and covet more than anything else. And Guardiola can say that he prefers the league to the Champions League, and maybe he does. I mean, I've no right to say he does or he doesn't, but what I can say, what I believe, a certain amount of what's the phrase I'm looking for? A certain amount of confidence probably is the easiest word to use. The owners want the Champions League in Manchester City. There's no two ways about that. And if he doesn't win the Champions League, then do you ask questions about him to an extent? I mean, it seems silly to say do you ask questions about a manager who's won league titles everywhere he's been, but he hasn't won a European Cup since Barcelona. So there you go. Like, I mean, you went to Bayern Munich, did very well there, won the league. I think he won the cup as well, maybe the double. Didn't win a Champions League. Manchester City now hasn't won a Champions League. And that is kind of why clubs would bring in a manager of the ilk of Pep Guardiola. Who'll win the Premier League next season? I don't know, Louis, mate. I think it will depend on what business is done over the summer. But either way, to start off with, you've got to put Manchester City favourites and us quite close behind. Heme said, if Wilson gets promoted with Derby, I'd love to see him play another season under Lampard and with the other young talents. Again, though, mate, we've seen Lampard linked to the job at Chelsea, so heaven only knows what's going on there. Just wanted to let everyone that BT are streaming the finals on YouTube, just in case you don't have BT, said Let's Think Tech. Klopp, the most expensive player this transfer window? Klopp, the most expensive player this transfer window? I don't know what you mean, Red Tick Game, and you've lost me on that one. I wonder if they get banned, would Pep move on a clause in his contract? It'd be a weird clause, wouldn't it? If you lads get done for fiddling with financial fair play here, or any other irregularities, then our Hosep here is on his way out. Imagine that in the contract. That would be a weird clause to put in, wouldn't it? I think Norwich will be up there for the titles at Anthony Cronin now. Relax, Anthony. It's great to see them back in the Premier League, mate, but relax. Heme also said it's free on the BT app on YouTube in the UK. Again, thank you guys for all this information, because the last thing we want to be doing is giving out misinformation to anybody. But what I can say for certain is that on the day of the Champions League final, we will be hosting our normal watch along. We'll also have a preview show beforehand that day, and afterwards our post-match show is going to be a charity stream, as you guys know, in aid of Cystic Fibrosis Ireland, and I'll give more details as we get closer to the day on that one. Okay, some more comments. I'm very keen on signing Moussa Diaby from PSG. He's the new Sadio Mane, said Edward. This is why I love coming on here, Edward, mate. I get to learn things about players that I may never know about. So I can't say I know anything about that guy, Edward, but I can tell you what, I will have a look into him, mate. And thank you so much for your comment. Last year was talk of letting Genie go. What is his status now? Superman is almost his status, I think. Is it Sergio van der Bovenkamp? Excuse me if I got that incorrect. Genie Wijnaldum has, to me, probably been the most consistent midfielder at the club this season. Now, I'm not saying he's been our best player, but he's been sensational. So I think his status is that he ain't going to go anywhere, and he is a senior squad player and somebody that Jurgen Klopp knows he can rely on. Fendal said Bobby Firmino is a ready-made world-class attacking centre midfielder. Sign Timo Werner and give the number 8 to Bobby. He's got everything you need to play that role. He's so talented, mate, as you've said that, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, he could drop back there and play at the tip of a diamond or behind the front three. Or even he could play as one of three with one ahead of him. He's just so talented, Bobby Firmino, and he's so versatile, and that's why we love him, and that's certainly why Jurgen Klopp loves him. Charlie Haley said, can we bring back Suarez just so we can tear Norwich up again? No, mate. I'm trying not to curse because I was aware that somebody's mum was watching, and I'm doing my best to keep my language down just tonight only, just to try and be nice. But Suarez can do one. I think that's the nicest way I could put that one. Craig, are you doing a Europa League final watch along? I didn't give any consideration whatsoever, Adam. As always, I will let you guys be the judge of that. If you want us to do a Europa League final watch along, give us a thumbs up. If you don't want us to, you couldn't be bothered, give us a thumbs down. This is a democracy, so if you guys want it, then it shall happen. If you don't, then we'll pass. Can we bring back Suarez just so we can tear Norwich up? I've already gone through that one. Craig, Klopp is the best in the world. I have no doubt whatsoever, said Craig Weston. I always love your positivity, Craig. And maybe I'm a little bit biased, buddy, because we share a first name. Genie is the Dutch Aladdin, said Stevie Richards. There's a joke in there about rubbing him somewhere, mate, but it's not going to be me that makes it. I'm trying to have a PG stream tonight. I know I'm going to mess up somewhere, though. Kumar said, for all of you lads, Bobby's not for sale. He's the best false nine and creates more chances than many attacking midfielders, so stop this nonsense. I wouldn't exchange him with Aubameyang. Bobby's not going anywhere. You're absolutely right, sir. He's going nowhere. I'm just looking through my notes in case I've missed something here about this. We've done that. So we've done the Neresh thing. We've done the UEFA Fan Parks thing. We've done the Jurgen Klopp release clause thing. What else have we got? We've done the Harry Wilson thing. So Liverpool are closing in on the signing of a £200,000 deal for highly rated young Polish goalkeeper Jakub, some name that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce because I will make an absolute mockery of it. But the 16-year-old shot stopper will make the move from Legia Warsaw this summer after the Reds won the race for his signature. He's an under-16 youth international and has also attracted interest from the likes of Manchester United, Valencia and Juventus. And this comes from the man himself, James Pearce, so you can take that to the bank. Liverpool closing in on the signing of a £200,000 highly rated young 16-year-old Polish goalkeeper whose name I am not even going to try and pronounce. Let's just call him Jacob because that's his first name and I can work with that. But I'm sure you guys have probably looked at clips of this guy if there's many of them out there. But again, bringing in more goalkeepers, have Kevin Kelleher, have Grabara, have Shamal George. Sometimes these guys are going to have to get a chance. Craig, if we get, and it's a big if, delay, we will win the league. I agree, Gary, but I don't think we're going to get him. I don't think we're even interested if you're to believe James Pearce and some of the British journalists who think Jurgen Klopp is happy with his options. But look, none of us would not like Matthias de Ligt at the club. He's sensational. Jamie said, hey, coming back to the best channel, and this is a bit late, but well done on passing 15-7. Thank you very much, Jamie, and it's great to have you back, buddy. Yeah, that's his name, Billy. I'm just, is it Oziinski? Oziinski. Although there's a J in there. It's actually OJRZYNSKI, I believe. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce that properly. Liverpool are looking into Van der Beek, said Charlie Haley. I've not seen anything about that, mate. I've not seen anything about it. You're not the first person to mention it, though, so that's not to say it's not true, but for me, all I can say is that I haven't seen any links to Van der Beek from Liverpool. The release clause thing we've already done, Luke, and it was that Jurgen Klopp apparently has a £32 million release clause in his contract, and that Juventus were interested in trying to bring him over to Turin, but that Jurgen Klopp politely declined and said that he still has a job to do with Liverpool. Lowfat said UEFA's FFP has nothing to do with the FA of the Premier League, so City could not get penalised off the Premier League or get points deducted. Well, they could, mate, to be fair. because the Premier League have their own investigation open into Manchester City. There's 4 investigations into Manchester City from what I'm led to believe. So you've got the UEFA FFP investigation. You've got an investigation into Jadon Sancho signing and that £200,000 money for an agent. You've got the Premier League investigation, and then there's one more, I think it's into the way youth players were signed. I can't be 100% certain on the fourth one. I could be wrong on that, mate, but there is a Premier League investigation that could see Manchester City dock points. I don't think it will. I'm just saying that there is an investigation that could see it. But you are right. UEFA's investigation can only take City out of the European competitions. It's got nothing to do with the Premier League. That's a separate investigation altogether. V8 said, Craig, just watched a few streams back and heard you say you had Asperger's. You're not alone on that one, lad. I have it too. There's actually at least, I think, 10 people I'm aware of that are on the autism spectrum that are involved in our streams and that comment all the time. So thank you, mate, for feeling free to open up and share that with us, and I do appreciate you taking the time to do so. I spoke with Brian about my Asperger's yesterday, and that it's been a positive in my life. I'm trying to harness the best points of it. So for me, I can have laser focus on a task, and like YouTube as an example, I probably spend 6, 7, 8 hours a day looking up football stuff, replying to people on social media, getting ready for YouTube. But the trick for me in life has always been to not have that laser focus be to the detriment of something else in my life. So whether that be my family life or other aspects of my life, I can get too wrapped up in the subject. So like everybody else, I'm learning as I go along, and I'm trying to take the good parts of things and work on the bad parts. But thank you so much, mate, for feeling safe and open enough to share that with us, and lots of love to you. James Pearce is best mates with, we're not allowed to say that name, we have to sound the klaxon, Edward, if we talk about Buvac. Oh, I've said it, there goes the klaxon, I can hear it in the background. Can't believe it's 10 days till we lock horns in Madrid. Come on, you Spurs, said David Rowath. It's going to be a great occasion, mate, for both clubs. 2 very good clubs that deserve to be there, and I'm looking forward to it. Still do live, but no Europa League Cup, please. Just Liverpool, said Domestic Butler. I'm trying to see if there is any thumbs up or thumbs down for that, because not many people have actually said anything on the Europa League, so I'll take that as nobody wants the Europa League watch along. So whoever recommended it, sorry, it seems the people have spoken. What would you think if Sarah Hayes, the Chelsea women's manager, got the men's job? I mean, I fully believe whoever is best qualified or best suited to the job should get it. And she's, from all accounts, I don't know too much about Sarah Hayes, but she's done a very, very good job from what I can gather with the Chelsea women's team, and she will be interviewed for the job. And there is nothing stopping a woman managing a Premier League club. Absolutely not. I'm not somebody that buys into this whole idea of women not being capable of it. It just seems ludicrous to me. Whoever's the best for the job. I still don't believe that Phil Neville, by the way, got the England ladies job. There was at least 2 ladies that I was made aware of that were infinitely more qualified than him for that job. So yeah, I think she would be interviewed, and I think she has the right to be interviewed, and she has the right to give across her vision and her outlook for what she'd do if she came into the job. And she seems to be very highly thought of in the game, and I don't think it will be too long before we start to see women managers coming into the top levels of the game, and I'm all for it. Craig, you asked about Cruz. I believe he's a great fit as a false 9. 12 assists last season and 9 goals would make Salah and Mane very happy, said Raul. Thank you very much, sir. I love the way you guys help me out so much. Thank you. We've done the Agent Bobby thing, mate. It was just about David Neres and them being international colleagues, and maybe he could try and smooth the waters for a potential transfer. I hope that's alright, Seamus. I know I kind of rushed through it there. Are these clarified or just rumours? Because I ain't heard of these. Clarified. Low fat. I mean, I read 2 articles on it the other day, mate, that there was 4 separate investigations. So I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but maybe somebody quickly can have a quick Google and just say, just confirm these for me, because I don't ever want to give out false information. All I can say is, from what I believe, 4 investigations. I feel Juventus are a club that believe they're bigger than they actually are. Do you know what, Jack? I get that feeling as well, mate. And I have to caveat that by saying that Juventus are a big club. Don't get me wrong. They are steeped in tradition. They're a great club. But I do kind of think that they feel like they are a little bit bigger than they are at this moment in time. Maybe I'm undervaluing Juventus, but I wouldn't put them on the same level as Liverpool. And people can say to me, you're wrong. They win Serie A all the time. Correct. But, you know, to be fair, it's a one-team league, really. Napoli gave them a run under Sarri one season and fell away at the end, and other than that it's been a canter for I think 8 years now. Man City will get away with it, said Stephen Richards. Joanne's a fellow Aspie. How are you, Joanne? I did know that, but I didn't want to name any names. Barnes said, sorry, completely forgot. Does anyone remember when the charity stream is? Want to make sure I'm here. Mate, it's the post-match stream after the Champions League final. So I kind of rolled the dice on this one a little bit. I did the post-match stream because I'm hoping we're all in a great mood, and I'm hoping that we're all celebrating Liverpool winning the 6th European Cup, and that will help everybody donate generously to what is a wonderful charity, Cystic Fibrosis Ireland. And as I said, this all kind of stems around my wife. I want to do this to help my wife because I love my wife, and my wife does so much for me. And I always sponsor her, of course, every year when she does this, and try and help her however I can. But I just put two and two together, and people said you should do a charity stream sometime. So I suppose I'm being a little bit selfish with the cause that I'm going with here. It is for Cystic Fibrosis Ireland, as I said, with a special mention for Team Mason. Team Mason is a young gentleman that's a friend of my wife's son, and he has autism, he has cystic fibrosis and cystic fibrosis related diabetes as well. So I thought, I'm so in awe of these ladies going and doing the Dublin Ladies Mini Marathon every year, and this year it takes place on June the 2nd, the day after the Champions League final. So I thought, why not make the Champions League final post-match show or charity stream, and any money that we get from super chats, any money that we take in from ad revenue, and of course I will put the direct link in to donate if you want to donate directly to my wife's GoFundMe page or whatever it is for Cystic Fibrosis Ireland. You can do that as well, which is what I would urge people to do, because every penny then will go directly to the cause. As will all our ad revenue, of course, as well. But the super chats and stuff like that, as welcome as they are, 30% of your money won't go to the charity, then it would go to YouTube, because they take that cut from any money that you give. So if you are looking to donate, we will make sure we keep sharing it on the night, the direct link. It's all above board. I'm going to show you bank transfers and everything when it's done, to let you know that we kept true to our word, because as I've always said from day one of this channel, everything's an open book on here. We want it to be as transparent as possible. But just take it that I'm doing it because I love my wife, and that's why I'm doing it, and she deserves it. And you guys know, she dropped in and out of the chat. You've seen her come in with the tissues, and I was crying when we scored the 4th goal as well. She is wonderful, and I couldn't exist without her. So if I can ever do anything to help that amazing woman, I will do it. AC Milan are rebuilding. They'll challenge Juve at some point, said Tom Jones. Celtic win the Scottish Premiership all the time, but are not as good as Liverpool, said Domestic Butler. How Phil Neville get that job? He couldn't manage himself. And he was linked with the Brighton job, Aidan, which is what absolutely blew my mind. Like, they were sacking Chris Hughton and considering Phil Neville. Now, that they went with Potter, who was a very good up-and-coming manager, but still, madness. Was Wijnaldum pictured with De Ligt just a picture, Craig? Because I really think it's just that. Yeah, he's also been pictured with Memphis Depay and Virgil van Dijk as well, buddy. So I suppose it's just that Dutch contingent. If you could get a player for Liverpool, who would it be and why? Kylian Mbappe, Jamie, because I think he's just the best young attacking player in the world at the moment, and will go into be a multiple Ballon d'Or winner. So if I could have anybody, Jamie, mate, it would be him. A realistic player, Timo Werner or Fekir. I've always liked the idea of both of them, and I know the Fekir knee thing, but I'm imagining that the club can get around the possible knee injury, and I just love the idea of Fekir at Liverpool. Sorry for using the word, Craig. It's alright, Edward, mate. It's only a joke, buddy. Don't take it seriously. If you could get it, nope, done that one. Champions League final, then the boxing. What a night it's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Champions League final, then AJ as well fighting Ruiz late in, well, it's probably too late. It's in New York, so it'll probably be about 2 a.m. Just in, seeing Dortmund made decent signings. Yeah, they've been very, very clever. Scotty said, Craig, you missed the thumbs up. I didn't see too many of them, Scotty, mate. Look, we'll ask again closer to the Europa League final. We can certainly talk about it again. Does BT have to make the Europa League final free on YouTube too? The honest answer, Crosby Red, is I don't know. I'd imagine, probably. If they have to do it with the Champions League, I don't see why they wouldn't have to do it. But Billy said yes, so there you go. Billy's answer. Thank you, Billy. It seems that they do. What else we got? Craig, do a stream with your wife. I don't think we'd ever be able to, unless of course the kids were being looked after somewhere. But I don't know if she's the type of person that would want to sit in front of camera either, mate, to be honest. I'll never say never. You never know. I mean, she'd have some stories. She could absolutely, she could end my YouTube career in 5 minutes probably. YouTube career, he says, like it's, you know, I mean, totally over exaggerated that one, but couldn't think of any other way of phrasing it. Who do I think will be our first signing in Haloko? Oh God, mate. I think it'll be somebody that we haven't heard of, or somebody that we're not on here talking about. I think it'll be an under the radar thing that will come out, and within 24 hours it'll be all done and dusted. I know that's a bit of a cop-out of an answer, mate, so I do apologise. But again, let's put it to the group. Who does everybody believe will be Liverpool's first signing during this transfer window? I mean, your input is very much as important as mine, ladies and gentlemen, so please do let me know. Looking at all the messages, this channel just gets better. I've said it before, Germanis, mate. The reason this channel has grown so quickly is because of the subscribers. It's got nothing to do with me. It's got nothing to do with Connor. We're just a conduit between, you know, the chat and the microphone. Without the subscribers, without the input, without the fun, the laughs, the kindness and the caring, this channel wouldn't be where it's getting to. So I'm sick of having to say that I'm sorry for sorry for thanking you, but we do thank you, and it is because of you. So again, thank you. Who's my local team in Ireland? I'm kind of stuck between Bray Wanderers and Wexford Youths, John. I'm kind of bang smack in the middle between the two. Where do you think Mbappe will go if he leaves PSG? Real Madrid, probably, mate, unfortunately. We've already signed somebody, said Prez Mane. Is that the 16-year-old goalkeeper, mate? If that's the one, then, you know, I don't think that really works out, but maybe it's somebody else. Bernadette Farrell said, Craig, I go to pre-season games, usually 20 miles from Liverpool, £10 a ticket, and showcase new signings. You should film them. Craig, I go to pre-season games, usually 20 miles from Liverpool, £10 a ticket, and showcase new signings. You should film them. I'm a little bit confused, Bernadette, as to the pre-season part. Which pre-season games are you talking about? Sorry, Bernadette, if I'm completely missing the obvious here. Gary Richard said, Craig, I think our midfield will be why we beat Spurs. I think it's going to be important, mate, absolutely. I just think all over the pitch we're better than Spurs. And I'm not to underplay some of the Spurs players. Ericsson, Dele Alli, Son, Kane, who will play but won't be fit. Will probably play but won't be fit. All excellent players. Their fullbacks are suspect. Their goalkeeper, we know, has a mistake in him. Alderweireld and Vertonghen are actually, you know, two very good centre backs as well. I just think, I don't know. I just think it's there for us. I don't want to say we'll do it, but I think it's there. Edward, I'm not even reading out that over the first sign. I don't even want to mention that gentleman's name again. I'm sick to death of him. The Polish goalkeeper, yes, I did speak about him already, buddy. 200 grand from Legia Warsaw, I believe. Camacho to Wolves, said Billy. Whatever works for young Rafael Camacho, mate. He's obviously not happy at Liverpool. We've seen that with his post earlier on in the season. Mark Forrest said, what do you think of Koulibaly? I like him very much. I think we should get him. I've heard rumours of links to LFC before. We're not getting him. I think he was possibly looked at around the same time as Van Dijk, if we looked at him, and I don't know if we did. But the serious links there, mate, have always been to Manchester United. And I think they tried to, was it 89 million they bid recently? And they were told no. So if he does go anywhere, I think you're talking probably a club like United. But sensational as a centre back. I mean, one of the very elite centre backs in world football. We've signed a 16-year-old. Yep, I've gone through that already. Covered that earlier on. Is Depay going to Liverpool? Is he any good? I can't answer the first part, Sonia, because I'd be lying if I gave you an answer. The second part, I have my doubts on his consistency and his attitude, but the capabilities or the ceiling that man has as a footballer are very, very high. I just don't like seeing some of this stuff on social media. That rap video he made that I actually watched today, and it was terrible. I'm still trying not to curse. I'm doing my best not to curse. It was terrible. But as a footballer, he wouldn't be my first choice, but I also wouldn't be too upset if we signed him. If you watch a YouTube compilation, Sonia, he will look like an absolute world beater, and he has done some amazing things. But I don't know. I just don't think he has the right demeanour for Liverpool. But then again, my opinion isn't really important here. Can I watch the final on YouTube from Saudi Arabia? I would be lying, Farhan, if I gave you an answer, mate. I couldn't give you an honest answer, so I don't want to tell you any lies. I'm sorry. I don't know who is being the broadcaster, mate, in Saudi Arabia for the Champions League. If so, maybe check beIN's website and they might say something about it having to be shown on YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, mate. I can't give you a definitive answer. Craig, out of the 3 trophies, how many do you think will win? Oh, are we talking about like Champions League, Community Shield, European Super Cup? 3. If we win the Champions League, fuck it. Oh, there it is. There's the language that I was trying not to use. If we win the Champions League, then yeah, I think we'll probably go on. Although I'd love to see Jurgen Klopp just throw the kids out for the Charity Shield and just say, I don't care about this. Who cares? Yeah. The European Super Cup, that'd be fun to be playing either Chelsea or Arsenal. That would be fun. We saw Matip, Gomez, etc. pre-season games against Wigan for a tenner, said Bernadette. The pre-season games this year, obviously they're in America, and then last I heard, because Anfield wasn't going to be available, Liverpool had looked into the possibility of playing a pre-season friendly against against Napoli in Spurs' new stadium. But with us now being in the Charity Shield, I don't know if that will go ahead or not. United have been having bids rejected left, right and centre, said Barnes. Koulibaly wants to stay at Napoli, said Lofa. Yeah, I don't blame him. He's settled there. Napoli, of course, in the Champions League again next season. FA Taser said, we're definitely trying to build a Dutch national team. Klopp has been playing too much FIFA off the Southampton/Dutch hybrid. He said 100% he's not leaving unless he gets sacked. Is this about Klopp? Or you're talking about Pep? Is that Manchester City Alfie? I don't know. I missed part of this conversation, mate. Sorry. What else we got? I'll bet you my right testicle Pep won't leave this summer, said Manchester City Alfie. Mate, I'm not going to take you up on that bet because I want you to keep both of your testicles, mate, and I want them to be safe and sound. Yes, already gave the answers, Craig. Brilliant, thank you, Farhan. I'm glad you've got an answer to that one. Throw the kids out, bit drastic, Craig. Did I say throw the kids out? Oh, I meant against Manchester City, sorry. I thought you were thinking about my own kids there. I was like, why did I say throw the kids out? Play Brewster at Wembley, said Stephen Richards. I'm all for that. What? Yes. Okay, Billy Donnelly, you've brought me into something that I was going to talk about here. So let me just get to this. You've mentioned the goalkeeper situation, or in particular the backup goalkeeper situation. And regarding that, I know we've spoken about this and I've said a couple of times that I'd like to see Caoimhín Kelleher or Grabara get a chance as the backup goalkeeper. Well, there are rumours coming out today and links that Liverpool have looked at a couple of options. Liverpool are obviously going to probably, well, I say obviously probably, how can I say that in the same sentence? Liverpool are most likely going to allow Simon Mignolet to leave in search of first team football this summer. So with that in mind, it seems like the club are going to look for an experienced number 2 to come in and be back up to Alisson. The 2 names that I've seen popping around today were, 1, Adrian from Manchester City. There's been a couple of sources on this one. Check it out for yourselves. I think the Echo ran something on it, I think. But the second one, I've seen Pepe Reina linked back to Liverpool. Now, I think Pepe Reina is 36 or 37 years of age. I like it. I like that idea. And here's why. I like it for a couple of reasons. obviously he's been a Red before, but if we're talking about distribution, Pepe Reina was one of the greatest distributors of football with his feet from the goalkeeper position that I've ever seen. Now I know his reflexes aren't the same, and I know he's not the same Pepe Reina, but him and Alisson working together on the training ground day in, day out, and then the kids learning from him as well. So the Grabaras, the Quevian Kelleher's, the Shamal Georges, this new young Polish goalkeeper, all learning about the way Liverpool like to play football from the back from Pepe Reina and Alisson. It appeals to me. I'm not going to lie. Now, Adrian is a very good goalkeeper, so that also makes complete sense. And if Adrian came in, I would have no issues with him being back up to Alisson Becker whatsoever. Just call me sentimental, but I can make a lot of arguments for Pepe Reina for a year or two. But I want to know what you guys think. You've Adrian, Pepe Reina, somebody else. Please do let me know what you think. Using expletives is fine, Craig. I know, and I normally do, but there was just a young gentleman earlier on that asked, could I keep it down because his mum is watching and he's watching the stream, and he asked so nicely that I wanted to try and do my best. Somebody put the link in there to the 888 video. Thank you, Barnes. You're an absolute superstar, mate. You've been such a great addition to the channel. In terms of the Pi's attitude, I think his attitude is purely a part of today's growing society, said Daniel. You see a rough attitude through the likes of Sané, Pogba, etc., and they're all world-class footballers. Yeah, I suppose, mate, it's about growing your brand as well, isn't it, these days, Daniel, and social media influence and flexing and, you know, just looking like a swerve SOB, and yeah, they all kind of do try to do that. So I get where you're coming from. Maybe I'm just a little bit too old, Daniel. Maybe I'm a bit too old school for stuff like this. And I'm sure Jurgen Klopp could see past all of that and go straight to the crux of the matter and try and find out what the young lad's all about, buddy. So I get where you're coming from, Daniel. It's a very good point. Grabara's good on FIFA, said Sam. The best signing for Liverpool in the last 4 years is our boss, don't you think? I could not agree more, Farhan. I could not agree more. He has changed the future of this football club for the better. Yeah, he's the best thing that the owners have done for this football club since they've gotten here, without a shadow of a doubt. Pepe would be good, said Ibrahim, as a backup. Sorry, I'm just trying to click through a few things here as well. Daniel said attitude is often something overlooked for that reason in signings, unless it seriously poses an issue to their performance. And look, Jurgen Klopp, Michael Edwards, and the rest of the recruitment team, sorry, I was trying to think of somebody else's name there, are very, very good at looking into players' characters, looking into their backgrounds. So anybody that comes to Liverpool Football Club, I'm always assured that they've got the right attitude, Daniel, mate, because Jurgen Klopp doesn't leave these things unturned, is that the right I'm looking for, or unchecked. Barry Hunter, sorry, that the name slipped me, or Chief Scout's name slipped me there for a second. Yeah, Barry Hunter as well. They look into every single aspect. I remember, I keep coming back to Melissa Reddy a lot of the times, but because she writes so many fantastic articles. Melissa Reddy did a piece on how well Liverpool scouted Bobby Firmino before we signed him. They'd watched them in all types of weathers, in hail, rain, shine. They'd looked at him in games where they were winning, where they were losing, in different aspects of his personality, and obviously everything came back tickety-boo because Bobby Firmino's a Liverpool player. So yeah, there's a lot of detail and a lot of work that goes into signing a player. Right, here we go. Ziyech to Liverpool, thoughts? Don't see it happening, Sam. 25 million would be a no-brainer though, don't get me wrong, but I just don't really see it happening. Lucas Fabianski, question mark, has been linked. I would have no issues with him coming in as a backup keeper. Bernadette said Reina. Anthony Cronin said, isn't the PSG league so boring? The French league? Yes, it is, to be fair. Buffon, how about him? Looks like he's going to sign on for another year at PSG from what I've read. And as much as I absolutely adore Gianluigi Buffon, and I do, he's one of my goalkeeping heroes, he is too far past it, I think, for me, mate. But again, I don't want to be disrespectful to a man that I idolised growing up. Not gonna lie, I've been having a bad day, but it's always nice to be on here, said every day is me. Mate, I'm so sorry to hear that you're having a bad day. Hopefully we can cheer you up a little bit. Yeah, it's great to always have you with us, mate. I love that we have fans from all different walks of life and all different football clubs that come in. And you know, you've got I was going to say you've got a massive season ahead of you next year. I hope you keep Bielsa because I like him as a manager and I want Leeds to get back up into the Premier League. Tom Jones, there's always an exception. King Kenny's return as manager didn't work out, said Elijah John 5. Get Etheridge, said Billy Donnelly. Adrian from West Ham has been linked, which we just went through, Football Related HQ, and he absolutely has been linked as well. Roberto Firmino's attitude is spot on. Signing that I believe that'll happen. Anything I say, James, mate, would just be guesswork because I have no behind the scenes information or no sources that you guys don't have for Liverpool Football Club. I'm like everybody else. I try and piece together the bits of information from the media and see what looks like it might be realistic. If I had to guess, I think I said earlier on, Neres, Werner, possibly Pepe. But I still think, like many other people do, buddy, that there's going to be one from left field, one that none of us thought of that will just come out. We call it the Fabinho type transfer now, don't we? Why did the FA look into that song Manchester City, or why did they not look into the song Manchester City sung when they're playing? Oh, look, mate, I don't want to keep harping back to Manchester City here. Rather than why the FA didn't look into it, it was the lack of any type of sincerity from Manchester City that annoyed me the most about it. Like, their whole thing was basically, we weren't talking about Sean Cox, which basically kind of translates into, we were talking about the other fans being battered on the streets, and some Manchester City fans were really clutching at straws by trying to say that battered on the streets meant Liverpool fans being drunk, which is just all kinds of ridiculous. Even Guardiola's half an apology, it was pathetic. It's pathetic. I don't know what else to say. To win the Premier League and to be singing about Liverpool and company's tackle and Salah and Liverpool fans being battered on this. I've gone through it time and time again. It is everything that club is, mate. It's just fake. It's pathetic and it's belittling and not becoming of Premier League champions. For a team that were so good on the pitch, played some stunning football, that they do have a lot of PR gaffes, shall we say. I mean, you've seen the video going around of them fake breaking the Premier League trophy. Whoever came up with that idea wants to be sacked because it's the most cheesy, ridiculous, B-Tech attempt at humour I've ever seen. I mean, oh God, it's just cringy even watching it. What else we got? Can you please do streams in the afternoon? Maybe 5 instead. I can't really, LJ, mate. I can't. Family life and stuff, buddy, unfortunately. I will try and do a few over the course of the summer. Some transfer updates and stuff a little bit earlier in the day, mate. I can't say that they're going to be every day, so don't hold me to it. But I do appreciate what you're saying, LJ, and I will take it on board, mate, and try and figure something out. Maybe we can do some edited down versions of the shows, or I know that's a lot of work on Connor, to be fair, and I don't want to put more work on the young man's shoulder, so I'll try and do something, buddy, because I'm aware that people sometimes haven't got 2 hours in the evening to sit through. Joel Morris said, do I think Bruno Fernandes would be a good signing for Liverpool? And Joel and Barnes as well, thank you for the super chats tonight, guys, I do appreciate it. Yes, but I do question the sincerity of the links. What do you guys think? I mean, you guys probably know more about Bruno Fernandes than me. I've seen a couple of links to Liverpool. I don't remember seeing a price, so maybe you can help me out on that one. But would he be a good signing? Yes, I do. I think he would be a good signing, mate. And I think that anybody that already has talent and is doing well, that comes to work under Jurgen Klopp, could only flourish. I feel so bad about these when people ask me direct questions on transfers, because I could lie, I could big up something, but I've never done that and it's not really my way. So maybe we can just try to come to a general consensus on these things. But he's very highly thought of and there are a lot of clubs looking at him. I'm sorry if that isn't the clearest answer. Yeah, I'm sorry. Moreno going, not being linked with any fullback. We have been linked to a couple, James. We were linked to that Lloyd Kelly guy who, had signed for Bournemouth. A lot of talk about Adam Lewis coming through from the youth team as well, that maybe he'll get given a chance. but we haven't been linked with a lot, really, James, in the media, and maybe something will just pop up. Let's just wait and see. I saw him linked to Manchester City, said Farhan, which is what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it when the question was asked. I think I'd seen him linked to Manchester City as well, but God, there's been so many players linked to so many clubs, it's hard to remember. Would I take Bale? No, mate, I wouldn't. As a footballer, on his day, he can be sensational. As I said last night, I'll never, ever, ever forget that goal he scored against Barcelona to go around the edge of the pitch like that. And obviously he scored a worldie as well last year in Kiev, but too many injuries for me at this moment in time in his career for us to take a gamble on a player which would cost so much and be on such a high wage. So I would pass, but I wouldn't be little Gareth Bale as a footballer, not at all. What do I think of Petr Cech returning to Chelsea to become a sporting director? I like Petr Cech. He was an excellent goalkeeper. I've no idea what... I know what a sporting director's role would entail, but it's basically director of football, but I've no idea if Petr Cech is going to be capable of setting out the football philosophy for Chelsea Football Club, because that's what a director of football or a sporting director generally does. He is the stability at the club, so you can chop and change coaches, but throughout the youth right through to the first team, the sporting director's job is to get everybody playing a specific style of football, to bring through players that will suit that style of football, and have it so as the younger players can seamlessly transition from the youth teams into the first team and be brought up in the philosophy of the club. So whether Petr Cech is the right person for that or not, I don't know. They do seem to want to be building this whole thing of bringing back club legends, don't they? And they're talking about Frank Lampard coming in as manager. I would say there's better than Petr Cech, if I'm being brutally honest, but I have immense respect for Petr Cech. So, and again, what do I know? Maybe Petr Cech would be the greatest sporting director in the world, but he's no experience being a sporting director. So there you go. When you look at like the Manchester City, they went out and brought in Cheeky Begiristain, who is just sensational. Then Roma went and got Monchi, and now he's gone back to Sevilla. So, there is a calibre of proven sporting directors or directors of football, but as I said, I don't want to prejudge Petr Cech. Low Fat said Bruno Fernandes' price has gone through the roof, as well as that young João Felix guy. What's he, 120 million or something as well? Michael Cole said, would Adrian want to play first team football, as Pepe Reina would be cool with being back up at this stage of his career? It's a good point, Michael, and we're talking about Adrian here, who has been very good for West Ham, so I can understand your point, and that's why Pepe Reina made more sense to me as well. Would I take Coutinho for a bargain? It depends what you consider a bargain, mate, to be honest. I know I got a little bit, I won't say worried because that's not the right word to use, but I got a little bit interested when I heard Jamie Carragher saying that he'd happily have him back for the right price, and I heard Phil Thompson saying that he'd take Phil Coutinho back in the heartbeat. That made me think, is there anything to these rumours? Are the club really maybe negotiating with Barcelona? Is there a path to redemption for Felipe Coutinho? Football wise, I always thought he was a bit of a luxury in the Jurgen Klopp system, but he also has unbelievable talent. So would I take him at the right price? Yes. Oh, begrudgingly I probably would, mate, but the right price would have to be less than 80 million quid. Joel Morris said, I think Jadon Sancho would be a decent option for Liverpool. He'd be a fantastic signing, Joel, mate. And I remember Jurgen Klopp said that when he was at Manchester City and it was clear that he was going to move on from Manchester City, that Liverpool really wanted to try and get the kid there, but Manchester City were just having no interest in dealing with Liverpool. So he went to Dortmund. He's broken through at Dortmund. He's done really, really well at Dortmund. And if I'm advising Jadon Sancho, mate, I say to him, stay at Borussia Dortmund for another season. Obviously you're after having Julian Brandt go in there now. There's a space because Pulisic has moved on, so Sancho will get even more time in that attack. And then they've signed Torgan Hazard as well, so he's going to be surrounded by very good players there. And I think another year will do him no harm whatsoever at Borussia Dortmund. His transfer value is only going to go one way anyway, and that's up, and the amount of clubs that want him will go up. But I'm with you, would absolutely love to see him at Liverpool, mate, and he would fit in perfectly. Michael Edwards must be, or somebody said Edwards must be some crack at a party. I've no idea what that comment is about. Sorry for the sounds like somebody's trying to smash my house apart in the background there. I've no idea who's banging what in the house somewhere. Do you think Harry Wilson should go to Wolves? I think after Liverpool sell him, I don't really care where he goes, with all due respect to Harry Wilson. Wolves would be a good fit. I think he can play in the Premier League. I just don't know if he's going to be at the level for us or not. Wolves is a good shout though. I can understand why people are linking him with Wolves, but as I said earlier on, the teams that have been linked to him in the media, and I'm just going to grab my notes up, were Newcastle, Southampton and Brighton, and then Crystal Palace were believed to be interested if they moved on Zaha, and then there were 3 clubs in Germany that Sky suggests were looking at Harry Wilson, and that were Hertha Berlin, Frankfurt and Augsburg. Coutinho and this team would tear up the Premier League, said Barnes. Craig, do we need a player back who couldn't wait to leave us? That's the part that's always stopped me, Elijah John, from wanting anything to do with Coutinho. It's quite how bad he went about it as well. Like we know, everybody knows about the back injuries. Everybody knows that his agent or his advisors were putting stories out that there was an issue between him and Klopp. I told you guys from the Melissa Reddy article that he asked senior players at the club to go behind the manager's back and try and... or not, that's wrong. He asked senior players at the club to approach the manager on his behalf to try and smooth over the transfer. And apparently that didn't go down very well with Jurgen Klopp. So I'd be very surprised if Jurgen Klopp wants Coutinho back. But if he does, and Coutinho is definitely the type of footballer that would flourish with an arm around his shoulder and some love, as we've seen at Liverpool and as he hasn't gotten at Barcelona, then, you know, how could you not think he'd be a good addition to the squad? But I do agree and believe, and everyone that thinks that fuck Coutinho basically, there we go, swearing again, because of his the way he got out of the club, I get that and I wouldn't hold that opinion against anybody. Coutinho of Barcelona selling for 30 million, said Imran Khan. I mean, that's not going to happen, but it'd be ridiculous. Steve Nicol, the funny man. Steve Nicol needs to just shut up at this point. Honestly, he hasn't half come out with some tosh over the past few months about Liverpool. David Newell said, I'm surprised Klopp hasn't brought in players from Dortmund, what with his connections to the club. Some people will tell you, mate, that there was an agreement that he wasn't going to go and sign Dortmund players. I don't know if that's true or not. The Pulisic one was the one that I thought, that and Mario Götze were the two that I thought possibly might happen. And Götze, I think Brian Morrissey believes, is still an option for Liverpool to look at. I'd love Dybala to come in from Juventus, said Richard Gosney. So would I. I can only imagine what Jurgen Klopp could do to that young man with regards to his career and his ability as a footballer. I think he would just keep getting better and better and better, but it would also cost an awful lot of money. Steve Nicol loves LFC. Yes, he can talk nonsense, but I respect him. Was a super player for us and speaks his mind. I like him. As a player for us, I cannot argue with you. He was sensational, but I will disagree with you that you think he speaks his mind. I think he says stuff for attention, and he says stuff to try and be divisive or kind of Richard Keys-esque to a degree. He says stuff for a reaction at times, I think, to try and stay relevant and keep his name in the news. That's my opinion on Steve Nicol, and I'm just glad I don't have to watch him every week, because I wouldn't pay for my football subscription if I was having to look and listen to Stevie Nichol's nonsense week in and week out. Would you swap Shane Long for Brewster? No. What type of ridiculous question is that? Ryan Brewster is going to be one of the best players in the league, in my opinion. And Shane Long, as much as I love the Irish connection, is average at best. That has to be a piss take. It has to be. Sorry, it has to be. I really don't think Klopp will want Coutinho back. He's finished with Liverpool, says Ardit. Guys, to everyone that is joining us later, that has come in, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so. As you can see, we're almost at 15,750, so we're heading towards 16,000 and every single subscription counts. And of course, if you can take 1 second and just hit that thumbs up button as well. Right, we're going to go for another 15 minutes or so, ladies and gents. So if there's any more questions or any bits and pieces, please do get them in the chat. I've talked about the Borussia Dortmund signing Hazard and Julian Brandt. Oh yes, there was a little bit of news, not really Liverpool related. The deal to take Antoine Griezmann to Barcelona looks like it has hit a bit of a snag, according to Mundo Deportivo and a couple of other sources. They're suggesting that Barcelona are already looking at alternative options to Griezmann. Has anybody seen much on this? I'd seen a very tenuous link to Manchester City for Griezmann as well, which I don't see happening. But again, how many times have we heard Barcelona players being nailed on to go to Barcelona this summer, and then for some reason or another it falling through, or there been an argument over money or a disagreement on wages? We talked about Griezmann just now, and we spoke about De Ligt, all these type of players as well. Yeah, interesting. Maybe people are starting to see the grass isn't always greener at Barcelona. Griezmann is a shithouse, by the way. I don't like what he did to the Atleti fans last year with those 2 videos. If I'm an Atletico Madrid fan, I am really, really fed up of Antoine Griezmann's nonsense. And if he's already announced he's leaving, so if the Barcelona deal doesn't go through, he'd be kind of up that creek without a paddle. But I can't believe it won't go through. I don't think he would have announced he's leaving if it wasn't pretty much done and dusted. Craig, do I make money out of subscribers? I suppose it depends. It's kind of a loaded question. Do we receive ad revenue? Yes. Any YouTube channel that's monetized receives ad revenue. Our ad revenue is kind of small because we do a lot of our stuff live. If we did pre-recorded stuff, we'd probably make a lot more money from ad revenue. We get super chats, as you can see as well, which also do bring in some money for the channel. And we've a very, very small amount of people that are signed up to our Patreon, which, as you can see, is down there as well. Which for Patreon, you get something back for donating to the channel each month. You get like a digital download, you get newsletters. We'll be doing some Patreon only private Q&A sessions. You get discounts on Anfield Agenda merchandise and a few other bits. And even at that, mate, they're $2 a month and $5 a month. But none of that, and no matter what else happens, everything we do on here is always going to be free. We made that promise from day one, and we'll stick with it. But yeah, we do make a little bit of money. I mean, as an example, this month from YouTube ad revenue, we got €272, I believe, was deposited to my bank account in the past couple of days from AdSense, which is the YouTube, Google ad revenue thing. So you can say that you want. I put in probably over 100 hours in the past month live, and that's without the behind the scenes stuff. So if €272 I believe is what we made this month from AdSense. So there you go. It's not really an awful lot of money, especially if you consider the fact that like mine and Connor's computers alone are like $5,000 in total for the 2 MacBooks. The webcam that I use here is about £300. The Nikon camera that we bought was about £700. The ring lights that we use are about £95 each. Then you've got monitors, the microphones, the mixer, the microphones for when you're not doing stuff on the computer, travel cases. It all adds up, mate. So I can tell you one thing, it'll probably be 3 years before we even start to break even from any type of money that we make off YouTube. So if people think we're doing this for the money, again, I can promise you we have put in so much more money to this channel than we will get out of it, because it's a passion project and we love it and it's fun. And yeah, it's not all about money. Do you know, I keep saying it, for me this is about a life experience. Griezmann to City has been squashed by Pep publicly in the FA Cup press conference, which is more than he did, low fat mate, for the whole question about, you know, the old greasy backhanders. I'm only winding you up there, pal. Where will De Ligt go? I would still think he'll end up at Barcelona, Rob Ron. Craig, if that helps you make money, I'm your newest subscriber. Well, look, I appreciate you subscribing, mate. That on its own means the world to me. Thank you. Redmen TV video views are lower than usual. I've got no idea about Redmen. As I said, I don't pay attention to other people's numbers. That's for them to work away with, and you know, they make great stuff anyway, Redmen, so they deserve every viewer that they get. Is Anfield Agenda just run by you, or is it a team? It's myself and Connor, I suppose, that you could say are the driving force behind it. We started it together. There is more people involved, of course there is. With something like this, you're definitely going to need more people, but 90% of the stuff, if not more, is done by me and Connor, because we jokingly say, now please don't take this as me thinking of big heads around, he's the brains, I'm the talent. That's the way we kind of describe it with each other. Connor does all the technical stuff, the YouTube stuff, the images, the thumbnails. I do the research on players, the research on what we're going to talk about. I do the interaction in the social media accounts, except for Instagram, which is run by Kev and run very well. I take care of the Twitter account. October is involved as well. Then we have people like Cash and Dave and Chris, who sometimes come on and talk on our podcasts and video stuff. So I suppose there is a wider group, but really it's down to myself and Connor for most of the stuff. But you need a family, you need a group, and the most important people in all of this is you guys. Because without you guys, there would be no Anfield Agenda. So, yeah, that's the long-winded answer, mate, to your question. It's all about enjoying the streams with others. That is it, mate. You've nailed it. Absolutely it. Little brown envelope said low fat. I'm glad you took that, mate, in the jest in which it was intended. I wasn't trying to be serious there. If Dave's LFC chats with us on the Champions League final, he absolutely is going to be here with us for the Champions League final. You're going to have myself, Dave, as John has said, Connor and Brian Morrissey all together in my living room downstairs. The four of us will be on camera. The four of us will be mic'd up. That's why I said the Champions League final day is going to be a big day here on Anfield Agenda. We're going to go preview. We're going to do watch along. We're going to do a post-match show. There'll probably be tears. There could even be some male nipples shown at some point. There'll definitely be some alcohol ingested by the lads, but more than anything else, we're going to be having some fun, and that's what it's about. And it's going to be a pleasure to have the lads here to watch the final with me. I can't wait. And again, shout out to Dave's LFC chats. He's a lovely fella. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably have already know about his channel. Do check him out. If you think I'm mad, by the way, which I know some of you do, Dave is a whole new level of space cadet, and I mean that in the most endearing, loving possible way. He's mad, but I love mad, so lots of love to Dave. Who did the Aviva match stream? The Aviva match stream. Oh, that was Charlie. Yes, sorry, Lee. I was thinking right back there. The Napoli game. Yeah, that was Charlie. Charlie used to be involved in the podcasts and did a little bit with the channel. Work took over for Charlie and he got a little bit too busy. And it is often, all of us that do this, we give up our time pretty much free, as I keep saying. So it's hard to expect much of anybody. That's why it's mainly been myself and Connor, because we can shout at each other and we can moan at each other about things. It's not really fair to do that to other people. You're going to have a drink for the Champions League? No, I'm not. I'm not really a drinker, as I keep saying. Yeah, it's not my thing. Although Dave has said he's bringing down a bottle of champagne, so never say never. If the Champions League is won and the cork is popped, then maybe. But you know me, guys. It'll be this stuff. It'll be the Diet Chav or the Diet Coke. People probably don't know what Diet Chav is when I keep mentioning it. Long-winded story, but it's basically what we call Diet Coke. Dave's as mad as a box of frogs, said Stephen Richards. In the most loving possible way, he is. But it's great. You need characters, don't you? Craig, my opinion, Shane Long is a great technician with great character. Is that Brendan Rodgers? Is that you, Brendan? Craig is sound. I like you, fella. Have you got the silver chav? You know I do, Gary. You know I do, mate. It's never not in reach. All we need now is a black and white van with red stripes. We're going A-team here. Is that what we're talking about? I always wanted an A-team van. I'm not even going to lie. It was probably my favourite television show as a kid. Are we covering the final? 100%, Darren, mate. Gonna have a preview show, match watch along, and a charity post-match stream. Diet Coke is 100% better than Pepsi Max, Rob Brown, mate. That definitely. Pepsi Max is it's like a swear word in my house. Craig, will you be on the Ribena soon? I don't like cordial, really. The only one I'd probably drink is orange and pineapple, if I was to have a cordial, if that's the right word. The whole transfer news as a whole is very quiet this year. It is, Thomas, and that's good news because I like Liverpool keeping things under wraps. It keeps us all guessing as well, doesn't it? I'll be here and in the pub, said Darren Calvin. Wherever you are, Darren, mate, I hope you enjoy it. It's building up to be a wonderful occasion. 10 days to go, 9 for some people. I know it's probably gone after midnight for some people who are watching in Europe and further afield. If there's any spare champagne, can you email it to me? We'll try, mate. We'll try. Does Ireland have Diet Coke strawberry? Yes. I actually bought my daughter a bottle of it the other day because she wanted to try it. So I don't know what it's like, but it definitely does exist because I remember putting it in the shopping trolley. Willow said, yes, Craig, Connor, Dave, Steve and Richards on October and the last day of the season. Dave is totally off his head like he's a space cake. Or space caked. Yeah, we did. We were over Liverpool for the Wolves game. Well, not at the game, but we did the meet up. Willow was there, or Wendy, which is her correct name. Stephen Richards, Louise, myself, Cash, Connor, Dave, and we all went out and had something to eat afterwards. And we did a little bit of filming together, and it was so much fun. And don't forget, guys, I keep forgetting to say this. We're going to be in Liverpool again on Monday for the Boss Nights send-off, or the Champions League send-off show. They're doing a show at the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool, formerly the Echo Arena if you're old school like me. I know a couple of people from our subscriber list are going. A couple of people have gotten in touch. The good news is, if you buy a ticket, it is unreserved, meaning that it's a standing event, so we can all go together. We can meet up and we can go in together, and there's no such thing as somebody sitting over here and somebody else sitting over there. So if you want to go to that event, the tickets are still available, I believe, from the M&S Bank Arena. Also check out the Boss Night accounts on social media. All the information will be on there. But if you are going and you want to meet up with myself and Connor and a few other people that are going, you can either get us on DMs on social media, or you can email us. Our emails are always open to everybody. We've got 2 accounts that we use, and they're both basically just AnfieldAgenda@gmail.com or AnfieldAgenda@outlook.com. If you get the Outlook.com one, you're more than likely going to get me answering you. If you get the Gmail.com one, the odds are Connor will probably answer you. So if anybody is thinking of going to that event, please do so. I got in contact with the guys from Boss Night, and they were kind enough to say that we can have a bit of an interview with them as well, with somebody from Boss Nights, just to talk about, or Boss Night, just to talk about the building of fan culture and how they've built from such a small thing into something so big, and how it exists, and how Liverpool fans are different. There's so many questions I want to talk to them about. So lots of love to the guys at Boss Night for being so generous as well with their time. Yeah, nothing but love. As I said, I love this Liverpool community. I love the fact that we all help out and look out for each other. And I love the fact that those guys are taking their time. They don't need to. They could have told me to fuck off. But they were so kind and so warm and friendly. And I'm looking forward to having a chat with them. But more than anything else, I'm looking forward to going to the gig and singing the songs and screaming my lungs out and getting some good footage and fun. Just fun. Because that's what it's about, isn't it? And I can't go to the Champions League final. So the next best thing I could think of doing was going over to Liverpool and going to that event and just having fun, because they look class. Jamie Webster is the business, isn't he? Absolutely different gravy. Ship Lallana out, keep Wilson. Madness selling him, said Kev. It looks like I say it looks like Lallana's going to go, but somebody said that Neil Jones said that Shaqiri might be going and Lallana could be staying. Either way, Kev, I reckon if we do move out Wilson, mate, there will be a clause in there that means that we could get him back, or at least have first refusal on him. Willow said, gutted I can't go, can't stand up for that long. I completely get you, Willow. It's going to be fun though. I'm not going to hide my excitement. I'm very excited about going over. It was a very last minute thing for us as well. I just said to Connor, do you know what, mate? The flights are about 70 quid each. Do you fancy it? And Connor, being the fun loving fella that he is, said, absolutely, mate, get your bald ass on there and book them tickets. Craig or Willow or Craig or Connor will push you around. Yeah, you can get on Connor's shoulders. It'll be sound. Don't worry about that. Is Patreon only dollars? Yes, Barnes. It is done in dollars for everybody. Yeah, it is. So if you look at it, don't get worried about it. It all is only done in dollars. And for anyone that signs up to Patreon, I've said this before. Patreon, how do I describe this right? You get charged on the 1st of every month on Patreon. So if you sign up to Patreon today, no money will be taken out of your account. They process everybody's payments on the 1st of every month. So that means that anyone that signs up this month will receive any of the benefits from the 1st of next month, and so on and so forth for any other month, because I know that's confused a few people before. The link is there, as you can see, if anybody wants to ever check it out. Patreon.com/Anfield Agenda. Do, don't, whatever works for you guys, but the most important thing is that you're here on the stream and you're putting your comments in, and that's what it's all about for us. Who would my dream signing be? It has to be Kylian Mbappe, Danny, doesn't it? It has to be. It's not realistic, buddy, but it probably is my dream signing. I can't believe, even though we've been on so long, we've stayed over 300 people in the chat for the entire stream, or watching, I should say, which is amazing, guys. Thank you so much to everybody. I mean, our numbers are doing crazy. I remember not so long ago. Do you want actually a crazy stat to finish up with tonight? Connor sent this. I'm sorry, I'm too excited about this. Connor sent it to me earlier on. On February the 14th or the 16th, we had 8,500 subscribers. And 3 months later, we've nearly doubled. In 3 months. That is unbelievable. And that is only... Well, it's down to a couple of things, really. It's down to the success of the team, obviously. Liverpool doing well has absolutely helped us. It is down to some hard work as well. But mainly, it's down to you guys. Because I know you guys are often letting people know about the channel. Talking to people on social media. Connor had a lovely moment, actually, where he bumped into a guy from school that he hadn't seen in a few years. And Anfield Agenda came up. I think the guy must have known that Connor was involved in it. And it was just a lovely moment for Connor that somebody he went to school with is watching a channel that Connor helped start up and run. And in moments like that is lovely, and that's worth more to us than any of the money or anything that goes along with it. So thank you again. I keep saying thank you, but I love your asses. What can I say? That is a very strange thing to say. I love your asses is a very weird thing to say, but you know what I mean by it. It is really weird. I love your asses, though. That's defo going on it. That's a meme already there. I can see Connor's going to send something like that to me, but you know what I mean. Next season, Craig and Goldbridge need to do a link up for the Man United Liverpool games. We did it twice this year, mate. I was on the United stand for both the games this season, and Mark came on here after both the games, and hopefully we'll probably do it again next year, because I like Mark. I get on well with Mark, and he's helped us out a little bit as well, so always lots of love for Mr. Goldbridge. I've always called him Mr. Goldbridge. I'll always call him Mr. Goldbridge. Deserves to be so much bigger, said Reese. We'll get there, buddy. It's our first season. We'll get there, and yeah, we'll get there. I'm not going to lie. I've always said I want that YouTube award. You know, the one you get when you get to 100,000 subscribers. I don't know what it's called. I don't know, there's so many different names on it. You get sent a plaque, basically, when you hit 100,000 subscribers by YouTube. And I want the award just so I can give it to Connor. Because without Connor, we wouldn't be on YouTube. So I want us to get to that 100,000 subscribers. Whatever. Whether it's 2 years, 3 years, whatever. But that day where we get to get that little plaque and I get to give it to Connor to bring home and put on his mantelpiece or wherever the hell he wants to put it. It's going to be a proud day for us because that young man deserves it. He's a star. Hard work is always rewarded, said Rob Ron. You're welcome, Craig, said Dodge76. Thank you very much, sir. I love your asses, Craig, 2019. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah, there's definitely some abuse in there somewhere. I hope you reach 50,000 and more. Thank you, mate. So kind of you. I love your affection for trolling gobshites, Craig. Yeah, it's weird. I think I said to you guys before, I've been a bit more mellow recently, but I think that's because we haven't had any watch-alongs. It's usually during the watch-alongs that I have a go at trolls and get angry because there is some stupid stuff comes in during the watch-alongs. This channel's going to be massive, said Willow. I'm always so humbled by people that believe in us because I don't believe in me, as mad as that sounds. I've more belief in Connor and his abilities than I do of my own on here, so for people that think we're doing well and we're going to be big, you've no idea how much that helps. How long have you been streaming? Nearly 2 hours. I'm about 7 minutes short of 2 hours, so just going to finish up. Do you think... Who do I think will come in this window? I've not a clue, mate. I'll be guessing. Give me anybody from Pepe, Werner, Neresh. I'd even take Memphis Depay. Anybody, any two of those four, mate, would do me fine. And probably one or two more that I haven't thought about there. Ziyech, I wouldn't say no to. Coutinho at the right price, I've said I wouldn't say no to. What else we got? Every sub if you want to get, or everyone sub if you want to get him to 100k. Yeah, I mean, that's my dream. It's just to hit that 100k at some point. I don't care about going 4, 5, 6, 7, 800k. Just that, just so I can give Connor that award. That's what I want to happen. Even if everybody fucking unsubscribed afterwards, it would just be to get there. What else we got? Is Bobby still with Liverpool? Yes, he is. He's over there and he's doing some warm weather training ahead of the final. Hope Keita is fitting back from his injury and impresses in the final, said Jordan Marsh. I hope he will, mate, but I don't see him really starting. But I love Naby Keita, and again, I hope he's fit. Player of the season for Liverpool has to be Virgil van Dijk. The interesting question, though, your dad, for me, was the midfielder player of the season, which was a vote that we put up on our Twitter account earlier on. And Fabinho was winning that vote last I checked. Surviving the Barcelona trolls in both the United streams and the streams here was an accomplishment. Yeah, that was, without a doubt, of all the streams that we've done, and we've been trolled by fans from every single club probably, but those Barcelona streams, Robron, you're right, they were tough. Our mods played a blinder during those streams. The trolling was... I know people who almost had to take a break because of some of the stuff in the trolling. It was vicious at times. I think Timo Werner is a practical signing, said Gary Richards. And a common sense signing, a practical signing, mate. You can make so many arguments as to why he would fit in, and not just the fact that he's of course a number 9, but he played wider earlier on in his career, so he could probably play anywhere across the front three. Do I think Harry Kane will be fit for the final? Yes, Joel, but I don't think he'll be actually fit. I think he will be available, but I don't think he's going to be up to speed properly. Which is going to be good for us if he starts, because yeah, he's a natural finisher and stuff, but he's not going to be peak Harry Kane, I don't think, for that final. Rod, we just about caught you, mate, before we headed off with the coffee and the croissant emoji. How are you, sir? Oh, Louise was farted in your face, Stephen. That's proper shithousery right there. Good girl yourself, Louise. I'm sure you deserved it as well, Stephen. Scenes when Stephen wakes up a pink eye in the morning. How long am I staying? Just about to sign off as we speak, mate. Yeah, just about to say my goodbyes. I will be back. What day is tomorrow? Thursday. Yes, we'll be back tomorrow night, same time, probably 9:30. I like this 9:30 time. It means I can do a full 2 hours and it's still only 11:30. So look, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help us out and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do hit that button. If you have subscribed, you know we love you, or as I said earlier on, you know we love your asses. And please do hit that thumbs up button as well. I'm going to have to say goodnight because my voice is starting to go and I'm absolutely wrecked. But look, I'll chat to you all tomorrow. As always, thank you for your time. Take care of your family. Tell your loved ones that you love them. And up the MF Reds, I'm going to say tonight, because I promised not to try and swear too much.